So in terms of data visualization, the work that I do is, I would say, substantially different than the work you've seen so far. The work I do it's in some sense gives data its body back. So I thought I would just give two simple examples of the kinds of work I do. The first is a piece that's a couple years old now. It's called The Shakespeare Machine. It appears in the lobby of the Public Theater. It's a chandelier which consists of 37 custom LED blades, 37 blades because there's one for each of Shakespeare's plays. And the architect who designed it said, oh, come on, 37, right? It's prime. That's got to be a joke. Can we lose a play? Like, is there one on the boundary somewhere? Or can we take something that was sort of on the edge and move it over so we get at least a nice even number so everything hangs nicely, but instead we're stuck with 37. So each blade displays the text from one of Shakespeare's plays, and then we go through a process of. I had skipped the. I decided to skip, but will not. We go through a process of looking through the data to try to find common patterns in text, basically patterns of language that Shakespeare used, whether that's patterns of repeated grammatical structures or actual word repetitions, or maybe the types of imagery that it represents. Is this water imagery? Does it have to do with the garden? Something like that. So the chandelier itself runs through a series of scenes. Each scene processes the text in a different way. Here we're just looking at the hyphenates that Shakespeare coined, having done quite a number of them. You get a kind of in-between hyphenate where one comes in and the other goes out, which is sort of synthetic. And then after this, as I said, we start to look at not just patterns. Here we're just looking for hyphens and that sort of text searching or pattern searching. But then we start to look for common patterns in, let's say, grammatical structure or in word usage. And so for that, we can make use of products of the digital humanities that will take something like a tragedy, Shakespeare, and then turn it into a lovely XML format where you have a speech by Hamlet, bracket speaker, and then you have bracket line, and then you have each word. Here, if you look closely, you'll have to be or not to be. That is the question. That's the line. You have the stub of the word as well as the part of speech. And I grew up in the California school system, so I can, if I'm lucky, name 9 parts of speech. The digital humanities folks give us something on the order of 150 parts of speech. And then you can just do some simple arithmetic. Here, I mean, we do a little bit more advanced than this, but you don't have to go too advanced to get something quite nice. Here we're just looking at, let's say, the common patterns in grammatical structure. DTJN1 is a determiner. And J is an adjective and N1 is a singular noun. And if you pull those out from Shakespeare, you get this sort of beautiful list that can now be spread out above this. But then the lesson to me is that while there are 3,400 of these patterns, this kind of slicing, dicing, and all of these sort of games that we play, it's really difficult to kind of kill the beauty of Shakespeare, right? That it just keeps coming up no matter what you try. And then the second and last project I'm going to show just appeared a couple months ago at MoMA. We were, Ben Rubin, Jer Thorpe, and I were part of the Artist Experiment series there. We were invited to look at the database, MoMA's databases. And they have some beautiful databases. Some were open to us and some not so open. I really wanted the collections database because that's going to have, or like the curators database, meaning the acquisitions database, meaning I'm out of time. The acquisitions database, meaning it would have like all the notes from the curators, like, yeah, okay, Mademoiselle d'Avignon was kind of cool, but it was a little pink, you know, maybe we didn't, you know, anyway. So but instead of giving us that one, because they were a little concerned about what kinds of things might hit the public, they just gave us their complete collections database, which actually is now available on GitHub because it seems like every museum is putting all of their collection on GitHub. And so what we decided to do in the spirit of giving the data its body back, we worked with a series of actors. They come from the elevator repair service. You might know them from a performance called GATS, which was a word-for-word reading of The Great Gatsby. It took 5 hours. There was dinner served. They called it durational theater. And so each of the actors was given text on a tablet that was sort of sent to them, and then they were mic'd up, and there were 6 channels of audio, and anyone in the room watching would have to have headphones on and then listen to the text as they were going. And every word that was spoken came from the catalog, came from the collections database. So I'm going to play you a little of what this was like. Oops. Hold on. Sound has decided to not. Well, that's unfortunate. So I don't know where my sound has gone. So I won't show you. If you'd like to see it afterwards, you can come up and we can play it when we're not when it's being a little more friendly. It's so weird. All right, so I'm just going to stop there, and if you wanted to see it afterwards, come up afterwards and we can have a look. Actually, it's probably good because they spend the first part of this, the main actress just sort of swearing at you, and that's not a good way to lead us into drinks. So I'll stop there, and yeah, there we are. Anyway, again, welcome to the Brown Institute, and I'm glad that we were able to host this, and please, it looks like there's refreshments in the back. Thank you.